because he's a big indie fan like myself. So,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah.
actually, speaking of which, your interview um, yesterday, like I don't know, it made me want to play that game even more than I already kind of did because of what I'd seen out of it.
Oh, that's
I think that
awesome
was a
because
big
that,
thing
yeah,
for him. That's big too. Even
yeah,
the
exactly,
more people
yeah.
he can get pumped about the game, the better.
That's fantastic to hear because yeah, like that's kind of the idea, isn't it? You to get that extra insight into the game, and you might find out something about it that actually draws you in, and the fact that he's a really cool guy as well, that helps. And yeah, hopefully that people can spread the word for that game even more. So
I feel like
um,
maybe it's gonna be one of those games where like you beat it and you're like, shit, I wish there were 6 more hours of this game.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you said like an
yeah, it's 'cause-
average player would get 2 hours out of it, which
yeah,
is a
that's what he
solid
was
sit
saying.
down. I mean, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but
exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's got. I think it's good to be realistic about the length. Well, I think that's probably a good thing as his first game, and like we said as well, like it's he's focusing on making it a rich experience. Something which is quite impactful with that time. So, and the visuals and everything look fantastic. I think it'll be a great game. And yeah, like it's kind of similar to a game I was playing the other day, like in the sense he's sort of focusing on not too much dialogue. It's kind of environmental storytelling and stuff like that. So it's the game I played the other day was Arise: A Simple Story. I don't know if you've played that, but
I
it's got
haven't.
no dialogue. It's really like it's nicely done. It's kind of a sort of quite a emotional story, but it's told just through visuals and stuff like that. But it's a very great game actually. I highly recommend it.
That's super interesting. Zero
Yeah,
dialogue. Hmm,
yeah. It's
that's
fun.
interesting.
I'm not actually finished with it, but I think I'm about 2/3 of the way through it at the moment, and so
You gonna do a
no,
review on it?
yeah. Actually, I know someone who's done a review on it, and that's Jeepers. We were
Oh,
just talking
nice.
about when it first came out. He did a review on it on the I think he did it on the BG4G channel. He might have done it on his own channel before he moved over to BG4G. But yeah, he done a review of it. It's a little. This came out in December last year, so I might talk about it on the podcast on Saturday. Little plug there.
There you go. What's up, Internet? Welcome to this week's creator feature. Thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to show your support by liking, subscribing, and commenting down below. Today, we have the Indie Gamer. What's up, man? Thanks for jumping on the show.
Thank you so much for having me on, my friend. It's an absolute pleasure to be on. You're a top guy in the community, and you're doing an awesome thing with this creator feature thing, which is bringing some fantastic creators on. I probably won't fall into the fantastic category, but I'm honored to be on. I'm honored to be on to chat with you today, my friend. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, not a problem. I've been you've been on the list for a little while. I actually have a massive list I've created in a OneNote document of
Nice.
creators I want to get on the show, and as I get them on, I just move them up in order on the list. So
That's cool. And you've been on good behavior. You give them a little star and then go
you
up the
get a
list a little
sticker
bit.
and a cookie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's just start with your screen name and how or why did you choose it, and how long have you been known by
Wow, good question. My memory's terrible, so I'll probably
it?
get it
So is
slightly
mine. It's
wrong.
all good.
Well, I first started my YouTube channel as a different name, actually. I did a few videos. Um, this is before I even kind of came into the community as it's known. Everyone who, like who's in it. The people we sort of speak to on a daily basis on Twitter. But the original channel I kind of made was just to test the water, to see if because I always wanted to make content. I procrastinated over making a channel for so long, even before I did that first video. I think the first video I did was actually on Forza Horizon, I believe, or something like that. Um, and that was, I think I called that something like Forerunner Reviews or something random like that. But yeah, then I kind of decided that everyone's kind of doing gaming content. It's quite broad, and I do love indie games. I've always sort of like it's been something I enjoyed playing, and to be honest, it took me a long time to actually think of a name, but I thought I wanted to wear it on my sleeve essentially without sounding too corny, but you know, the indie gamer, I thought it comes, you know, it's a way of, you know, really just sort of shouting out indies on, you know, just by being that name, if you see what I mean.
Well, and there's
And
plenty of people that can get behind it and walk under the same banner, if you will.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's sort of like it can start a conversation. It's like, I know not everyone always thinks, oh, he only likes indies or whatever, or they don't sort of qualify it as that. But you know, it just, it's nice to be able to just sort of stand behind something and wear it as a name as well. And yeah, and it's kind of just gone from there with because after doing a few other style videos, like a couple of I did a couple of videos, but like one was BioShock kind of news video, whether it's going to return and all that. This is like 3 years ago, probably, or something like that. And I did a Doom Eternal one when it got announced at E3 back in the day. So yeah, I can't really remember the exact dates on these, but I think I've had the Indie Gamer channel as it was rebranded to, essentially, for probably about 2 years, I would say, roughly.
Speaking of which, actually, kind of segues into another question. So, like, looking at your YouTube channel, it appears you've been at it for about 3 years now, or as far back as we can go and see videos. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate to me. Yeah, like I say, with the couple of videos at the start where it started out as another sort of style of channel, just experimenting with a bit of content, but then I felt that, you know, indies is where what I wanted to do, and I sort of then decided focus on indies, become focused on that niche as it's what I love anyway, and then I can you really have a focus and deliver hopefully on that kind of content to share the love for indies, because I love indie games as they are, and being able to share them with people as well, you know, it means a lot to be able to do that and hopefully spread a positive message.
I honestly, I think it's an awesome thing, that you're, you know, somebody that advocates for indie gamers and indie game devs and indie games in general. It's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
It's
Thank you so
absolutely
much,
awesome.
buddy. That means a lot. Thank you so much for that.
There should probably be more. I know there's a handful of people, you and I mean, I know of a handful of people, but I think that community as a whole should gain some ground. I think we'll actually see that happen in time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Yeah, there are
even
other.
Xbox, like they have like a full blown, more or less like kind of indie program partnership thing. Is that right?
Yeah, so what do you mean
With
with
the
the Idea Xbox
ID at
program, or?
Xbox, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, which is an awesome initiative, which is kind of it helps developers who still want to publish themselves. So the Idea Xbox it isn't a publisher. It's a program which helps with like the stuff that maybe developers don't want to get involved with, or they're new to the scene, so they don't really know too much about, and it helps them, you know, self-publish essentially, or if they wanted to use another publisher, they can do that. But you know, often it's so that the developers can self-publish their independent games, which is a fantastic thing, and they
And
are
it's some
bringing some.
solid marketing. Like
Yeah, most
solid.
definitely. It really is. Yeah, it really helps them give that extra sort of like, credit to their name, because you've got Idea Xbox associated with them. It's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll check that out. I mean, I love checking out all the games which don't get seen. So the more obscure, the better, almost sometimes for me, because I like just finding the diamond in the rough. I don't like to say indie games are in the rough, but you know what I mean. It's just finding those gems is super exciting to me. But you know, some people, they like to see, oh, it's Idea Xbox game, maybe that's worth checking out. Then cool.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome program, awesome ideas.
It
And
definitely is.
it's
They've really
I
come
think
a
it's
long way
helping
with it.
helping the community of indies and like just all around indie games, indie developers, indie gamers, like people like that maybe,
Absolutely.
you know, like indie games, but they maybe didn't know that they liked them as much.
That's
And then they
true.
see
Most
them on a
definitely.
bigger platform, maybe that entices people to go check them out more often. And then seeing people like you, like catching your videos, like what 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 does a typical week look like for you, and how often do you try and get something out in regards to the indie scene?
Well, I do. There's one video which I make sure I do every month, which is the top 10 new indie games of the month. Which, like I said, I've been doing that since essentially I started doing the indie content on the channel. So that's been like a mainstay. And yeah, so I kind of what I'll do is I'll research all of the new games coming up. There'll be some of them which I'm already aware of, which I know, that one's coming now. Like I said, maybe half of the list is that. And then I'll put into maybe some extra research if need be. Some months are just packed with awesome indie games which I already know are coming. Some months are a bit, more like slim pickings, and you have to sort of do a little bit extra research to find out about them. But ultimately, I'll end up with a top 10 list that I'll put together. So hopefully people can check out the video and then decide maybe they might want to check out one or two of the games for themselves. So I've kind of put the info in there and where it's coming out on and stuff like that. So yeah, that's one thing I do every month. But I've been changing it up quite a bit actually, because that's, like I said, I've been doing like these sort of like top 10 videos. They're kind of they're pre-recorded, they're sort of edited, and so they take quite a decent pacing, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But lately I've been trying to change up things a little bit, where I started the Indie Games podcast, so that's come into the agenda as well. Because I was always kind of a little bit scared to go and do live content, as there's always that that live is like, oh no, it could go wrong. I know you've got to say
you
something
can't edit
silly.
live.
Yeah, exactly. I was kind of putting it off for so long, and I thought, why am I putting it off? Like, I'd love to do this. In general, I just feel like, lately I've been trying to just do things which I'm still scared of. I don't think you're ever fully not scared, so I just got to take the plunge and kind of go for it, kind of thing. So I started the Indie Games podcast a couple of months back now, I believe it is. We've only just started, so it's been going well. What we did is we did like a one trial episode of the Indie Games podcast, and just kind of trialed it out. I named it kind of trial episode, and it seemed to go down really well, which was fantastic. I'm massively appreciative of the people that came out and supported that. It was fantastic to see, the support for indies and people coming out from the community. It was wonderful. And so yeah, we decided to carry it on a regular basis. So at the moment it's on a monthly basis. We're doing the Indie Games podcast on the channel, and potentially that could develop into maybe a more regular, almost more like frequent pattern, like it's every fortnight. You never know, but at the moment we're going to do the one a month, because keeping up a regular sort of pattern, I think, is important. So like I've got the monthly video with the top 10. I've got the podcast now, and like you saw recently, I did an interview which was for another first on the channel. It's kind of like doing a lot of things for the first time recently, trying to spread my wings, try little things out which are new, these are kind of all things which I've always thought I want to do, but have been a little bit nervous to do. Like with the edited videos, I can retake stuff. I can say, no, I'll do that again. I'll say that a bit better. I'll, edit that bit a bit better. You know what I mean? And that's that's my comfort zone, is edited videos. So stepping out the comfort. Yeah, as we was discussing earlier. Yeah, so but I thought, I watched so many podcasts in the community, like people like Boom, Randall Thor. I've watched those guys for years. Like Randall Thor was probably the first guy I sort of saw in the community, and then decided just watching loads of his stuff, and then I followed him on Twitter, and then I saw other people interacting, and then it all branched out from there. And early on it was something where I sort of like met Daz, UK Dazarus, who everyone will probably know, and he welcomed me with open arms.
Yeah, good old Daz.
Yeah, most definitely. So, and I was invited into as a trial episode for the Dazcast, or you call it the Dazcast. I would call it the Dazcast, but depending on where you're from. But yeah, no, that was not my first podcast, and I was super nervous on that one for sure. But yeah, I won't keep talking because I know you won't give me some questions. But essentially, I've just gone on and on and on and on. But my sort of weekly thing would be like getting as much content done as possible, really. Obviously, trying to fit it in around work. It's a challenge. Lately it's been a bit different with the situation. Been trying to get as much content done while I'm on a different sort of work pattern at the moment. But yeah, like the intention is to just keep grinding, keep on grinding. You know what I mean?
Like,
but
absolutely. You said something about more or less consistency too. You're kind of in the hunt for this,
yeah,
some regularity, like where you have X, Y, and Z on, A, B, and C times and days, and like is that kind of what
definitely.
you're ironing out right now with
Yeah, I
expanding your
mean,
content?
it's kind of like it's like I said, I think the monthly video is always it happens, but it doesn't happen on the same day every month. It's it's kind of regular in the sense I do it every month. I usually would do it at the start of the month kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, just the regularity of the series being there that people can check out, if you see what I mean. I know a lot of people believe in, and it's true as well, that people believe in sort of doing something every Friday or something like that, and that does work because people know when you're going to be uploading, that sort of thing. But it's only a monthly video, and it seems to be working pretty well to get a little bit of that indie goodness out there and people check it out in that way. But yeah, consistency as in more like looking at your own consistency to be delivering those series, as if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because you got to be happy with what you're doing. It's not so much about what everything
Most
else
definitely.
is. Like, it's about you and how you feel about when and what you're doing.
Most
The more
definitely,
comfortable you
yeah.
are with that, the way you're gonna be way better off being happy with yourself than being happy with
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
else.
I mean, sometimes that monthly video or at the top 10 indie games video, I'll wait a little bit because I know that there's going to be games announced that, say, for example, there's an event coming up, so on the 15th or something. I might wait because I know there's going to be a bunch of games announced, and then it will get added on there, and I'll do it slightly later. So I do try to pay attention to what things might, because the top 10 at the beginning of the month and the top 10 sort of a couple of weeks later, if you waited a few weeks, you might have got a better top 10, if you see what I mean. So it's kind of just that kind of thing. I'm quite flexible on the date of it, but I'm sort of strict with myself that I always do that one every month. But yeah, and like I say, the regulars on the channel at the moment are the Indie Games podcast and the top 10 monthly one, and then I'll do other videos kind of like in between that. So I'll
Sprinkled in
sometimes,
throughout.
exactly, I'll sprinkle, yeah, exactly. But it's kind of, sometimes it'll be like, if it had happened this year, I would usually do like an E3 top indie games of E3 kind of thing. There'll be like a top 10 from PAX East or something like that. You'll probably find a couple of those on the channel, and Gamescom and different things like that, different events. But yeah, they're kind of usually top 10 style ones. But recently I've been doing more kind of other stuff. It's a kind of a bit of experimentation, because we did Devolver, the Devolver Direct recently. We did a live reaction to the show, which was cool. Actually worked really well. Really enjoyed doing that. So that could be something we'll be doing more of down the line, because I've kept really tight consistency with the top 10s, and now now I've sort of taken in a sort of maybe a time to sort of spread the wings out. It's been quite rigid sort of structure, if you see what I mean.
Yeah,
And now
get
I'm
your
trying to,
creative juices flowing, dude.
yeah, exactly. Because like I say, there's been stuff I really wanted to do and kind of put off because of, being a little bit apprehensive. I was going to say scared there, but more apprehensive kind of, and stuff like that. Because you're worried how it might go down or whatever it might be.
The
But yeah,
nerves will numb eventually. Not
yeah,
completely, but
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm still like, I feel like I'll always be somewhat nervous for like gaming beyond the box. 'Cause I mean, that's
Sure.
literally the first
It's a big show, that
big
one as well,
live
yeah.
podcast I've ever, and I mean, it's
Yeah,
not huge by like in if you were to look at YouTube, it
sure,
doesn't
yeah.
seem like that, but then it's streaming to multiple other platforms, so there's hundreds and hundreds of people,
Most
actually
definitely, yeah.
watching every Wednesday, and I love it.
Definite.
But
Yeah,
that's
it's an awesome show. Really
part of
is
why I need
fantastic.
my a handful of beers. on Wednesday evenings,
All
you
at
know.
once. Yeah. I love it.
But I fucking love Wednesdays. I do. I
No,
really do.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. You're doing awesome stuff on that show. You know, it's massively popular and really deserves to be. It's
But
fantastic.
I'm looking forward to your podcast. I hope you keep it going. I was actually on there.
Yes, you were on there, my friend.
Last week. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of that was essentially. This is a little bit of the confusion that's arisen already. Kind of that was more of a, I don't know. I'm classing the
Test
sort of
run?
indie games podcast as a monthly. That was kind of a sort of special, I would class it as, if you see what I mean. We did a kind of like where it was Xbox Games Showcase. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether to just call them all indie games podcasts now. Do you know what I'm confusing myself.
Might as well. And then when shit
Yeah.
like that happens, you'll just call it a special. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Name it accordingly. That's what I would do.
definitely. That sounds
But
like
I
a
had
good
fun,
plan.
dude. It was fun. I was glad you reached out. You
Oh, it
guys
was
needed
great to have you.
somebody to jump on at the last second.
Yeah,
I'm
you
super
did. You're a
pumped I was
hero.
available. I was.
You were great as well. You were a
was
hero
fun.
last minute, and you still were awesome.
Well, all right. So, what did you first? When did you first get into indie games, and why?
So I think there's probably sort of a double thing related to that. I mean, on like the Xbox 360 is kind of when I first started sort of like loving these kind of smaller games, which were really standing out. That was a good time for the indie uprising, if you like.
It was.
So yeah, it's been like since then. It's kind
almost
of
like
that's
when it got its big classification. Like I
yeah, I
kind of
would
talked to
say
you briefly how games weren't ever really viewed up until the consoles started getting bigger as indies and triple A's and blah blah blah. At one point,
exactly.
games were just games.
That's true. No, that is true. It's used to be different for sure. I mean, it's sort of around, that kind of period where it's really risen up and become a thing, really. But yeah, no, that's kind of around that time when I was, checking out games and the other games, smaller games were appealing to me. But it's grown sort of in a steady pattern since then. And it's also the other facet to it is the fact that I've kind of been put off by a lot of AAA stuff over. It's become more and more AAA has become more and more boring to me. It's become regurgitated.
And the way they deal with things, not ideal. Like you see franchises taking total dumps now. You see, like you said, regurgitation every goddamn year.
Yep.
Horrible microtransaction policies and shit like that. So yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm glad you do. But yeah, no, it's a sad thing, really. I mean, there's definitely some cool AAA devs out there still doing cool stuff, but there's quite a few who are just using. I mean, I will name some names if you like, but like people like Ubisoft, they see their games, that each franchise seems to be the same as their other franchises. For example, Far Cry, and then you've got like Assassin's Creed. They seem to borrow the same sort of mechanics and then just change the story and a bit. They might obviously it's third person, first person, there's different things, but then you'll have like the thing where you have to get to the top of the tower, and you'll always have to get to the top of the tower in Far Cry and to find out your map. Then you have to get to the top of the buildings in Assassin's Creed. You know,
like
what I mean?
A copy paste and then a horrible Photoshop job.
Yeah, exactly. They copy. And I heard a report. I don't have a exact quote of this, but I saw it on Twitter actually yesterday, and someone said, I think it was Slow Mo Backslap. I don't know if you know Slow Mo, but I think he
I know who
tweeted
he
something.
is.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He was mentioning about Ubisoft. There was a Ubisoft developer who were actually told not to do something because it was out of the Ubisoft framework. Essentially, they were not allowed to use their creative juices. Essentially,
what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird. It's like gaming development should be all about creativity and being innovative and just fresh and brand new ideas. It shouldn't be about squashing down people's ideas and making it into something that you can sell. That's kind of what it all is all about, in my opinion. Like that's where like indie games are really fantastic, in my opinion, where they're just brand new ideas, fresh ideas, and they can be, small teams which can stay focused on a particular idea and deliver that right through to the end product. And with like AAA, sometimes I feel like that it gets washed down as well because of the big teams and stuff like that. It gets like, diluted because there's so many people working on it with different ideas, trying to fight for the final sort of like direction that they're going to go in, if you see what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I think I don't know. All you talking about all this the AAA nonsense makes me want to reach. Like, I wish I could reach out and strangle EA.
Yes,
They're another one
definitely do.
that I just think
They are
needs a good
terrible for
swift
it,
kick
yeah.
in the fucking ass,
Well,
dude.
yeah, well,
Oh,
they've kind of essentially ruined. This is back in the day a little bit now, but like it's one of my favorite bigger franchises, which
Dead
was
Space.
Dead Space. We talked about it before, didn't
Yep,
we?
they broke it. They fucking
Yeah,
broke it.
Visceral was it Visceral Games who were the developer, and
Yes.
they kind of ruined them basically, didn't they?
Yeah,
So
and then there, isn't it? Doesn't isn't Respawn under the EA banner as well?
they are, I believe.
I
Yeah,
love
yes, they are.
Titanfall, and I really I
Yeah,
want
it's a
them
great
to be their
franchise.
own thing. That's
Yeah,
another
that would be.
AAA game that's just, it's not a copy and paste. And they actually had
Yes,
a
that is a
solid
great game.
campaign in the second one. I was like
Oh, I loved
super
it.
pumped
Yeah,
that maybe there's a third. Like, those are the
yes,
AAA games I like. They're unique
exactly.
and they explore different things. They're their own game. They're not a copy and paste or a
Most definitely. Yeah.
regurgitation. So I can see more and more, especially the more I talk to you, the appeal of an indie game.
Cool, man. That means a lot. Like, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, you've got a good head on your shoulders anyway, and I know you're a great open-minded guy. So, but yeah, no, it's that's what I love, is just being able to talk to people about gaming, and especially indie gaming, and you know, to just think, if people open up to maybe a few more indie games themselves, check out a few cool games. It means the world to me, basically.
Well, let's hope so. Speaking of reaching more people, you're creeping up on 1,000. You're getting closer and closer.
Yeah, I
Are you
know.
gonna do
Yeah.
anything special for that?
Yes, I noticed that actually. It's crept up a little bit, quite a good little bit actually lately. I have to say, I'm really excited about that. Been at it a little while, but yeah, I'm very excited for the 1,000 if I could get there. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. Um, every subscriber means the world to me, and whatever the number is, cool. That's the kind of the nice way of saying it. But I did have a kind of target by the end of the year. I'd love to have got to the 1,000 by the end of this year. So we'll see if that happens. I think it's good to have targets. I think it's all about putting the content out there, keeping consistent again, like we said earlier. But if you're delivering content and you keeping it coming, keeping people interested, I think that's the key, because it's just about you put videos out there, and then you usually gain subscribers through videos, and it's just simple, really. You just keep it coming, you know what I mean? That's what I'm
Absolutely.
talking to myself for that one. but yeah, just it feels good to be able to share like the indie message, if you like, and to be able to grow through that, because the more I grow, hopefully, the more these games are gonna get seen and stuff like that. But yeah. And you said, am I going to do anything special for it? Well,
Yeah.
I would like to do some sort of giveaway or something like that. I'll do something like that. But I'll probably run naked around the streets, if you like.
There you go.
That'll probably be in private. Only for the street people.
You don't want that to end up on Twitter.
But
then again, maybe your channel blows up.
Yeah, well, I don't know about blow up or blow down. I think it'll be like 1,000 to 0 in 5 minutes.
Oh shit!
Brilliant. But yeah, no, I'm super grateful for literally everyone who does support me on that channel by subscribing. Thank you so much to everyone who does.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you haven't, make sure you go check out his content.
Thank you, buddy.
I thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm not even, like I said, the more and more I dive into it, the more interested I become in indie games, and like the backlog of videos you have Yeah, 3 years worth. So but I still have
Yeah.
a lot to come across. So
Yeah,
um,
just don't watch the first one.
absolutely
It was
do
I
it.
had a strange way of speaking well, I still have a strange way of speaking, but yeah, there was some weirdness going on in the first few
Oh,
videos.
dude, when you first start, like I've told a few others this that have been on my show that I have this backlog of privatized now
Oh, really?
videos as I kind of rebranded um, and
Yep.
whatnot years ago, and I was uploading to YouTube, and then I stopped abruptly and did a lot of other shit. The background came back, rebranded, privatized a lot of things, and
Yep. I
so
know what you mean.
cheers to those 42 subscribers I had before that happened. That were liking and
Well,
commenting, these old ass like horribly put together gaming
I'm
videos. They
sure they
were
weren't that bad. I was
the editing wasn't terrible. I mean, there's a couple that
Yep.
I can watch myself and be like, you know what, I didn't do too bad on that. But then there's others. I think like my first video, technically uploaded was um, it's either a Halo or a Titanfall original Titanfall like highlight compilation.
Nice.
Um, so it's been a
That's
while.
cool. But I
But I
think,
might make those public moving
you
forward.
should.
Like
Yeah, I was
every
gonna
once
say,
a month, I'll throw one of these terrible
Def
videos
yeah.
back into public.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
So
like, that's the thing with the early when you're starting out with the channel and stuff like that, that's the time to experiment and find where you wanna really go down the line of if you're not sure already, if you know what I mean. So, it's good to experiment, isn't it, and all that.
oh, absolutely, it's super beneficial. So yeah, I would
Yeah,
encourage everybody that if you have a thought or an idea for a video for something creative that you want to share, do it. I mean,
exactly.
it, it's not it's not going to kill you. It's going to eat at you if you don't. I can tell you that.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. I mean, that was like my problem, like I said earlier. I mean, I thought about doing a channel, starting the channel for so long, and then when I finally did start a channel, I realized this is when I'm going to start learning, if you know what I mean. So
Hmm.
you're not going to be like getting it right. Even though I took ages, I still do this. I'm still guilty of procrastination, that's for sure.
Me too.
Um, I I'll sit there editing videos for a long time, making sure that the accents on the music are hitting at the right point. You know what I mean? I'll get a little bit over the top. I'm a bit OCD anyway, so
Yep, I can
can be a
spend
bad
hours
compliment.
in a timeline, like
Yeah,
hours
exactly. Yeah.
editing on something that's only going to be 20 minutes long.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so the same as that. Yeah, but at least you're making content at that stage though. Like rather than just thinking about starting a channel, you're learning through every video and then growing every time. Even if you don't kind of feel like you are, because this is what I didn't really know whether I was learning anything, but then you kind of after a little bit you sort of chance to look back and then you think, yeah, I have learned some stuff actually. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's cool. It's good. It's nice. It feels good.
Growth
Still
comes
learning though.
through experience. So um,
Definitely. I'm
summarize.
still very much learning for sure. Just to clarify
Oh yeah,
that.
everybody is. If you're not
Yeah.
learning on a daily basis, then you're not doing
Yes.
something right.
Exactly. That's right, my friend.
You're not living. That's basically you guys might as well be
Yeah.
Walking
Yeah.
Dead here. So
Yeah.
summarize how you got to this point in your life. Kind of give everybody an insight into what led you to this point, like who you are, where you started, and yeah, how you got here. Only obviously what you're comfortable with sharing, but
Sure.
start back as far back as you can, and kind of lead us to this point.
Ooh, that's the eternal question.
Yeah, it's a big
Meaning
one.
of life. So yeah, well, where should I start with that one?
Start when you were a kid.
Yeah.
What brought you into video games, and
Yeah.
what you did moving forward. Just Go off on a
Go
tangent.
flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, so yeah, I mean, I was the first console, or well, it wasn't actually specifically a console. It was more of a, I think it was called a computer over in the UK. That I had was the Commodore 64.
Nice.
So yeah, that's pretty old school. Same one as Daz had as his first ones. We always share that sort of common nostalgia about that. He's a little bit older than me, but I still was got on it. You must have got on it a little bit early. I sort of the Commodore 64 action with the tape player. It just took about, like, I don't know how long to load, just forever. You start it loading and then you come back and you're ready to go, kind of thing. But yeah, I used to love playing that. I've got a photo of myself playing that somewhere on, like a printed photo, which is quite funny. But yeah, like grew up playing that. Just sort of went on to Amiga from there. I had sort of more the computer based stuff. I think that was because I tried to sort of say, yeah, maybe can I have like this games machine, but it is a computer as well. Do you know what I mean? It's got a keyboard, so I can have it. You know what I mean? And then your mum and dad are like, yeah, it's okay if you're going to do work on it. You can have it. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
like, it's
You're
not
gonna
just the
use it.
games machine.
You're totally gonna use it.
Yeah, so I think that was my loophole to get into the gaming, some nice consoles. So
That's a
started off Commodore
sneaky
64.
loophole.
Yeah, it's pretty clever actually.
Yeah, I would agree
But
with
yeah.
that.
But yeah, so I actually had an Atari ST as well, which was similar to the Amiga 500. I had one of those. Then I think I had an Amiga 600 as. Actually, I think I had an Amiga 600, didn't have the 500, which was kind of the smaller version of it. Yeah, then what did I have on the? I think I had a Mega Drive then. Thinking about it, and Dreamcast and Saturn I had as well, which were awesome. So I did quite like the Sega stuff. Never really had a Nintendo console actually back then. I've got a Switch
Really?
now, but yeah, no, I've got a Switch now, as I say, but I didn't. Sorry, I did have an N64. That's the
That
Nintendo
was
console
such
I
a
had.
good one.
Yeah, that
I
was
miss
that's
Mario Kart 64 so much
it. Oh,
sometimes.
the amount of fun I had on that with my friends, playing it
Oh,
4 player on that bad
so
boy.
fun.
Yeah, and GoldenEye as well. That was so
Oh
brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah,
fuckers.
and that time I was
That was
yeah,
one of those games
12 frames
where
per second. Yeah.
everybody's yelling at each other the whole time.
Definite. Yeah, that was classic. People still speak so fondly of that
Damn,
game now.
Golden Gun. I
The
swear.
Golden Gun, that was great.
Fuck.
Great mode that was, actually. Yeah, I liked it. But yeah, I used to play a lot with my friends around that time, and I can't think how old I was, but I was old enough to be. I was quite a young start. This is another subject about what I did when I was growing up and stuff, which is play a lot of music as well. I was in a lot of bands and things like that, and I was
What
playing.
instrument?
I've played lead guitar. Excuse me.
Nice.
Yes, I played like lead guitar in quite a few bands. That was kind of like my dream at one point, to be in like a band. Obviously a lot of people's dream, but I was going for it with it. So I was
Do you still
in
play?
several. It's actually something I've sort of put to the side now, if I'm honest, which is because so much, so much on the plate. It's kind of hard to fit everything in.
You
I
don't
kind of
just
gave
pick
it.
it up for a few minutes and
I still have an
dick around?
acoustic. Yeah, that's all I
There
have now.
you
Just my.
go. That's what I like
Yeah,
to hear.
yeah,
So
definitely.
at least you're
I
still
couldn't get rid of that.
playing to some extent.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just more of a relaxed thing around the bedroom now, or whatever, playing a bit of acoustic. But yeah, and I used to love being in bands, and I was just saying because the people I was playing the N64 with we were really young, but we were in a band. It was quite random, really. We're at school, and yeah, we still played in a band, but it was kind of cool. I think we played some Oasis songs and stuff like that, which is
Nice.
funny. That's yeah, back in the early stuff, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like I was an early starter on that. So I think I started playing guitar when I was like 7 or 8 or something like that, and then I was probably in that band, when I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. But yeah, so and then went on to several different bands as well, and I also did music in college as well as popular music, but it was kind of like a music production course as well. You'd learn like the pretty broad broadly, you'd learn about sort of it was called MIDI, which is music, musical instrument digital interface, which is kind of a weird thing to learn. Like you never see that on a music course now. But you'd also learn, they had like proper studios as well, which was really cool. So you could use the studios, which was soundproof proper, like
the proper
with the
mics
window and
the
everything.
way
Yeah,
amps,
and proper
everything
mics.
to pick up everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. You could just like say I want a bass drum mic and you could actually borrow them as well and check them out from the college, which was kind of cool because I was playing in bands as well out of that, so you could borrow stuff. Right. But yeah, the studios, they had several different ones. Like some were really small studios, some were like practice studios and stuff, which was cool. But yeah, like music was a big thing for me growing up, playing a lot of bands and stuff. And when I was like finished in that course, actually the music course I did, I met a few people who, well, obviously everyone's a musician, but I met some people who I was really sort of like, who got on well with, and we formed a band actually, and then we tried to make it big essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we did pretty well. We did a few gigs. We did some like gigs in London and stuff like that. I'm not from London, I'm from out of London area, but we went to the big city
shows.
Yeah, we're playing live gigs in London and stuff like that. So and we did a few like showcase gigs where we got some interest from some like labels and stuff like that, which was cool. We didn't get signed by a major label or anything like that. It wasn't quite that, but we did get signed by a small guy who a small independent essentially, and we he had like a studio on a farm, which was super cool. And basically we had that for ourselves, and there was one other band signed to the label, and we could just leave our instruments set up in a practice studio, and we also recorded an album for free, so we had as much studio time as we wanted to record the album. So that was pretty awesome. Damn cool. Yeah,
that's
fun
really
times.
Cool. I like
yeah
that bit of your backstory. That's the kind of shit I look for in the shows.
Cool, like, man. Well, that's cool.
The shit people aren't gonna know, and they understand that that you're human.
Yeah, for definite. No, I like that, buddy. Yeah, cheers. Thanks for bringing that on me. I did have a lot of fun in that time as well. It was really good times.
Maybe you'll have to teach me how to play my acoustic guitar that my dad handed down to me that I have barely touched. So
that's awesome that your dad's handed down.
It's been around for a long time, and it's just sitting in its case.
That's cool, man. That is a shame. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of what happens to my guitar these days, to be honest. But
Indy teaches Husk how to play guitar. Maybe start a series.
That could be something. Yeah, I'll definitely be a bit rusty, I think, now, but I do go back to it every so often, like, and just have a little tinkle on there. But yeah, no, so that was good times. But yeah, it's essentially been the driving force. I also, if you're interested as well, I will go into one more thing if you like.
Absolutely.
So other thing I did, which I've now moved on from, which was I started a business on my own as well, which was working like as a photographer. So I did that for about 10 years, which was kind of it was a ton of fun, but it was also quite a stressful thing running a business all alone and stuff like that. But it was a great creative outlet. That's something which I've always sort of had as a sort of common throughout my life, is kind of, I love being creative. All the things I like doing is sort of creative outlet sort of style things. And I enjoy cooking and stuff like that. It's all sort of creative kind of stuff. I enjoy playing in the band was creative. I just love that sort of stuff, really. But yeah, I did the photography as a business, and like for 10 years, it was really fantastic. It went well. And but then like after that sort of time, I felt that the stress was creeping in a little bit too much, and decided to move on from it. But I just thought I'd share that, it was another aspect of my life which I kind of I loved and left, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you got these different chapters in your life, I think, aren't there? You sort of like, you go through them and you explore them, and
they play a factor in your next chapter.
That's true. That's very true.
Whether it's apparent or not.
That is very true, my friend. Definitely.
Never really dies. It's always there, influencing you to whatever extent.
Most definitely. No, that's very well put. Yes.
So let's before we move away from backstory questions. We have one more, but I would like to announce the new Cloud segment to the show.
Okay.
Each week, Cloud is going to contribute some questions to the show for the creator, and hopefully at some point in the future, he can actually jump on live and co-host, or even host his own episodes of the creator feature. Of course, when he can, or when he has time, so on. There's a lot of things that play a factor, but for now, for sure, um, every time I have a creator on, Cloud is going to have his own segment. So, with that said, let's get into the Cloud segment and start with his first question, and it is: prior to your channel, did you do previous work with any other outlets?
Any other outlets of what type? Sorry.
Like media outlets before your own channel. Did you work with anybody else or do anything prior to
So related
YouTube, like
kind of thing.
media related?
Media? No, I don't
Yeah,
think
like, did you have a presence, or were you part of another presence before that?
Not really, to be honest. Sorry to ruin the question, but
No, it's all good. You kind of already you
yeah, I
almost
think
kind of already answered this with your band stuff and all that,
yeah.
is
I
how
mean,
I'm looking at it.
yeah, in a way as well. I mean, the stuff that relates to the that's built me up to kind of doing what I'm doing is the photography thing as well. Like I mentioned, I've had a experience in doing things which are related, as in editing and using those kinds of softwares. I've not actually done any sort of like anything with any other outlets, kind of like that are indie related or gaming related or anything like that. If that was what the question was more related to,
Yeah, more or
but
less.
yeah,
Um,
but like I've done things which has sort of maybe given me a few sort of like feels for doing editing and stuff like that, which has helped me out on the way for doing the YouTube channel a little bit. Although it's still different because it's video editing compared to photo editing and stuff like that. But um, yeah, no, not
yeah.
really. I haven't really sort of done any with any other outlets though.
So the second part to this is who or what inspired you to pursue the content that you provide?
So probably like I said earlier, like Randall 4 was probably one of the channels who I thoroughly enjoyed. He always used to do, he doesn't do them anymore, which I was sad about, but he always used to do Rand's Indie Spotlight, which I used to love to bits. And I always used to hound him, like, are you going to be doing the top 10 of the year indies and stuff? Because he used to do like the top, I think he did a top 15 indie games of 20, whatever it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his content, I thought, is just so good. I've always really loved what Rand does. He's gone kind of a slightly different nowadays. He doesn't. I mean, he's grown a lot. He's doing fantastic, but he doesn't
He
do
seems like
as
he's
much of.
picking up a little bit too. Like,
Yeah,
and he's far more, maybe, I don't know. It seems like he's loading a little more often in
yeah, I would
recent
agree.
months,
Yeah, he's uploading
which I
quite a
like
bit
to
now.
see, because he's one of the first I ran into in
Nice.
the overall uh, gaming scene with
Right.
YouTube
Yep.
videos that were
Yeah.
as straightforward as that, and opinion news based.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, he was, like I say, one of the first I saw, and always used to love watching his. I still do love watching his videos. But yeah, the indie spotlights he used to do, he'd just pick out, games, and he's just like, I don't know how he used to do them, but it felt to me like he used to just do them in one take, where he would just talk about the game for like 10, 15 minutes flat, like straight, you know what I mean? And it would just
Mm-hmm.
be amazingly articulated, That's what it felt
Well,
like.
and it always
He
seems
might,
that way.
yeah,
And then you realize when you get behind the curtain in your editing that if you want it
yeah,
to sound that way, it can absolutely sound that way. That's the whole
exactly,
kind of the
yeah.
whole point, right? Fluidity.
Yeah, fluidity is a big thing for sure. It's and it's a lot easy, a lot harder than than he makes it sound, and a lot of people make it sound when they're doing it. I mean, I didn't feel like he was editing it, but he might well have been editing it, but I don't
Well,
think
either
actually he
way,
was
it's
in the
not
early days.
easy. It might
Oh,
not seem like like a lot of people are going to look at content like from pretty much anybody, as long as it's, like I said, fluid and goes together well. Like
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
going to be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I could do that." Bullshit,
Yes,
mother. Sit
exactly.
at my computer, take over my keyboard and mouse. Someone that's
Yeah.
never done it before, and you fucking do it right now. Let's see
Most
it.
definite. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a different thing when you get in the chair, isn't it? It's
I think
ooh,
it's meant to look that way too, though. Like, you
yeah,
want it to look like it was seamless and
that's
effortless,
it.
because
Yeah,
that's what makes a video flow and it seem so awesome and
exactly.
perfect. That's the whole
That's
point.
exactly right. Yeah, that's it. It should seem effortless, shouldn't it? It should just flow. Um, but the thing is, though, I do think he actually did do some of his early videos like that because he used to do them with
One shot.
what's it called? The Xbox sharing thing that you
Oh,
can
yeah.
use.
Studio.
Yeah, that's yeah. I used to do them with that and just upload like that, and they would still be awesome. Just like I think because you retake on that on your voice. I think you have to actually do the gameplay and then
And then
speak over it in
voiceover.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
So
can't,
that's
yeah, you can't do same time. Like, you
retakes.
have to go back. Um,
Yeah, and do it all again if you know
Oh,
what I mean.
that
Yeah.
thing was that thing had so much potential. It was so clunky and broken, but it
Yeah.
worked so great when it needed to. I don't know how to explain it. It was such a
Yeah.
good concept, and I would love to see
Yeah.
it make a comeback with some
It's a
proper
shame. Yeah.
development. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good. Definitely, there's a lot of people crying out for it, I think. But yeah, like he always inspired me a lot. There's other people as well. There's another because I was always really into YouTube. I was heavily into YouTube, but another YouTube channel called Rock Paper Shotgun. I don't know if you've ever watched them at all. They're in UK based one, but they focus mainly on PC, but they do like indie stuff and
You're
like
gonna have
all
to
kinds
send
of
me the
games.
link to that.
Yeah, they're really cool actually. They've got a bit of humor in there as well, which is good. They're kind of like a bit quirky, so they're a really good channel. You Rock Paper Shotgun. They've grown quite well actually. They're over 100K I think, so they're quite big now.
Nice.
So, but they're actually the convention in the UK called EGX, which is kind of like a PAX. They usually are involved with that, and they will do like on stage kind of um let's plays where it's kind of fun and stuff like you like when you're at the convention they'll be doing a bit of something around it. They're usually part of the setup, so they've done well, so it's pretty cool. But they're a really good channel though. They're sort of like really humble and funny as well. They're really good. Definitely check those guys out.
Oh, I will definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, but there's you know there's others out there. I mean, there's other people like doing indie stuff out there who've grown exceptionally well. There's a couple in particular who's called Get Indie Gaming. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's kind of like one of the biggest.
Hmm.
He's I think he's about up to 70K now. He does sort of exclusively indie stuff. He's very good at what he does. He's branching out a little bit at the moment as well. I think he's experimenting, but he's done a lot of like top 10 sort of videos, kind of like things and stuff like that. It's kind of inspired me to sort of get into that kind of stuff really. And also oh yeah, that's the one. Indie Former. I always like to give them a shout out because Indie Former are not really around anymore, but their channel is still live on YouTube and they're fantastic. They're from Australia actually, and they were kind of like the precursor to Get Indie Gaming. As Get Indie Gaming guy said himself, he said once that they were the ones that inspired him. So because some people ask him sometimes, how do you feel if other people copying you, kind of thing, and he said, well, I copied someone else essentially. You know what I mean? It's all about getting inspiration from other people and then putting your own
And
spin on it
making
at the
it
end of
your
the day.
own. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. So
As long as you're not
um
copy and paste, and then
oh yeah, most
it's
definitely,
it's
yeah.
all yours.
Definitely. So like that Indie Former are definitely a great channel. I really hope they come back. And actually when they were around and then they said they had to sort of take a step back from it all, they even shouted me out, which I was absolutely blown away by. They said, "Here's a couple of guys to check out because we're going to be taking a back seat now." And I was like, "What? You actually
Oh
just
shit.
said my name?" I was like, "What the hell?" It's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
I didn't even know. I wasn't. I'm following each other on Twitter. We were, but like, I didn't really know that they had checked out my stuff, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like, what the hell?
That
It's
probably
amazing, man.
felt awesome and it's kind of
It
scary at the
felt
same time.
amazing. Yeah, because they shouted out like three of us. I think they shouted out, or they shouted out that indie gaming guy, me, and another guy as well. So it's kind of like pretty amazing to be put along with them people because the others were bigger than me. That's for sure. I was just, especially at that time, I was only like probably I don't know, like 400 subscribers or something like that.
That's
But
awesome, dude.
yeah, it was super cool, and they're really great guys. Their quality of their content is really good, and they would do on location stuff. So like PAX Australia, PAX Oz as it's called. But yeah, they're really cool, and they always do cool stuff with the look of their videos and like with their overlays and stuff like that. I like doing that kind of stuff myself too. So I always enjoy seeing that like nice bit of production value, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I hope they come back. Your fingers crossed they will.
Never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a break.
Yeah, most
Like,
definitely.
like you just gotta step away. So
Okay, cool. I'm scared of
All right.
Cloud's questions. They're gonna be killer, aren't they?
They're good ones, dude. I let him take over half the show, so
Okay, buddy.
his questions made the cut. Let's get into the gaming section.
Cool, man.
I let Cloud take over this entire segment
Wow.
this week, so these are all Cloud questions.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on subscription-based services for gaming, such as things like Game Pass and PS Now?
Okay, good question. My thoughts are it's fantastic personally. I really like them. I feel that they give specifically indie games, if we're talking, because we're talking indie games, that's my name obviously, so they looking at it from that point of view, they give indie games a fantastic spotlight. So for example, Game Pass, something, it's not just the fact that they're in there, it's also showing them off. People might not have seen them, people give them a try. Games like Carrion, people might not have seen, that's gone in there recently. They
I
might
still
just
have
give
to
it.
play that.
Oh yeah, I recommend it. It's good. I really enjoyed playing it. I played last night actually. Really, really enjoying it actually, because I was a little bit scared about how well the mechanics would play out, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah, because of the
for
way it moves around through the
exactly,
level.
that is
Yeah,
actually super sleek the way it moves around. That's probably one of the best things about it. So yeah, definitely
it's good to
recommended.
hear.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I really do think that subscription services are a fantastic thing. I think they're a good thing for gaming in general, personally. But yeah, for indie games, it's fantastic. It takes away some of that risk as well, because like if you put your game out there and just hope people are going to turn up and buy it on Steam or on the Xbox store or whatever, it's quite scary probably for someone who's putting out their first game or something like that. If it's something like you've able to make a deal with Game Pass or something like that ahead of time, and then you're kind of got that security that your game is they're at least going to make this amount of money. I'm not 100% certain about the deals, but with Game Pass, but I believe there's things like a lump sum, and sometimes I believe there's maybe it done as in how many downloads you get. I'm not certain about that, but I believe there is different deals that they make. I think they're also told they're not allowed to talk about it, the developers. So so it's pretty hard to crack that. But yeah, maybe we could go in as a secret developer one day.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think they're a fantastic thing, really. Like I say, it takes away some of that risk of the worry of, are we going to make enough to make back on what we've spent on this game. It's gets it in the spotlight, more people see it, people who haven't even like thought about playing any given game, whatever it might be. It could be something very obscure that you wouldn't try. I mean, I try a lot of games, obviously. That's just me, though. Not everyone is just called as to try out every single game, but in Game Pass they probably are. People, I often see people just checking out a game, trying it out, and if they like it, then that's fantastic. It's opened their mind, they're enjoying something new, and it's brilliant for everyone.
Oh, I would agree. I couldn't agree more. I think it's awesome. I have Ultimate, and if you're smart about it, you can
Yeah.
actually share it. Like you can
Oh,
have,
really?
oh yeah, so like my girlfriend's console is my home Xbox, and
Oh,
then
yes.
I'm able to just use my profile as my access, and then she has access to all my shit. So um,
Nice.
I'm essentially paying for one to get two. And then
Superb.
when we have a game on there that we both like and we play together, boom, neither of
Fantastic.
us have to, it's worth it. It's
Definitely. Yeah,
totally
definitely.
worth it. Even though I
Yeah,
don't get
ultimate.
time to play all of it, but it's, and then on my
Sure.
PC, like I can play Sea of Thieves on my PC, or
Yeah,
Gears, or uh, you know, uh Master Chief Collection. I was gonna say Halo. It's still not
definite.
quite where it's at on console, and everybody knows the problems with that, but um
Yeah.
yeah,
The
it's
service
awesome
is
having
superb.
options.
You've got these games coming up as well. Like Unto the End has been confirmed for Game Pass.
Yes.
You can tell it's a weight off of their mind, that knowing that they've got it's going to be, they've got that secured. You know what I mean? They can focus on creative development stuff, and they've got that deal in the bag of sales already made. If you see what I mean, ahead of time, it's lump sum probably, where they've now, that's cool, we're sorted at least. Anything else, maybe a bonus or whatever. I'm not sure what sort of figures they're talking about, but
But it helps
um
devs for
yeah,
sure.
it must help so much, I think, and gets the exposure as well, because then it's like a snowball effect with that as well, because more people play it, the more people then tell their friends, and it just builds up from there. So
Yeah. Think about
yeah,
games that might not have gotten the exposure had they not ended up on a service like Game Pass or PS Now. Now they have that
exactly.
exposure.
Definitely. Yeah, like Fall Guys as well for PlayStation. That's coming out into the PlayStation service very soon. The game's releasing on the August the 4th, and I think it's going straight into was it PlayStation Plus, or that's the only console I don't actually have. Is it PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now that's the subscription service? Sorry.
That's a good question because I sold my PS4 months and
Okay,
months
no
ago.
worries. Yeah, I've never had a PlayStation 4. Yeah, I've got Switch, PC, and Xbox One, but yeah, I've not had a PlayStation. Um, don't shoot me down, PlayStation guys. But
me
yeah,
me
it's kind
neither.
of
Thank you.
yeah,
God damn.
but yeah, it's going. I think it said it's going into PlayStation Plus on the PlayStation. If that's the subscription service, then that's awesome. But yeah, Fall Guys is looking fantastic. I'm definitely going to be getting that on Steam. Unfortunately, it's not coming out on Xbox. So
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm also really, really pumped to see that PlayStation's starting to kind of put shit out on PC, so that the rest of us that don't or no longer have their console can get that experience. So
definitely,
at the end of the day, it's about the games, whether they're
it is. Yeah,
indie or triple A's or Xbox exclusive or PlayStation
totally.
exclusive. It's the
Yeah,
more we can share as gamers, the more cohesive our community and everybody's going to be, and
so true.
and so much less toxicity when we're about the games and not so much about the plastic box that everybody wants to stick their dick in on
Yeah.
a regular basis. There's fan blades in there. Don't do that.
Yeah. Those kinky bastards.
Right.
Oh
Okay,
dear.
let's move away from big stuff and talk about his next question, which is, what's your favorite indie game, and what game really stands out for you?
Okay. So my favorite indie game, many people might know this already of my friends, but my favorite indie game is Hollow Knight, which is for me is a masterpiece of a game. No, it's just a game which I completely felt immersed playing. I spent so much time in that game, just soaking up the truly wonderful atmosphere it has. It's just um, full of charm, no pun intended, because you do actually earn charms in the game, but but yeah, no, the game is very charming indeed. It's a beautiful world they've made, and it's Yeah, some people say it can be tough, but I believe that's for a good reason. It's you don't get gifted things to you on a plate. It's not like it doesn't hold your hand in any way, but you have to discover the world. It's a blank map at the start. You have to go out and find your way through a blank map and discover it for it to open up, if you see what I mean. It's a Metroidvania, so I think it's just masterful game design, beautiful artwork, amazing soundtrack. Literally, I think it has it all personally, and I really cannot wait for the sequel, which is on its way, which is Hollow Knight Silksong, which a lot of people, every time there is every time there's any kind of like event where people were expecting some sort of indie thing, it's like, is it Silksong? Is it Silksong? You just have to watch out for the chat. Like today with the Cuphead reveal, it was like Silksong, is it? No, but a lot of people knew it was Cuphead today. But yeah, so I think the Silksong will be revealed in a Nintendo Direct or an Indie Direct or something. But yeah, so my favorite is definitely Hollow Knight. It's a stunning game, and it's a funny one because it's some people get put off by the difficulty. I feel like I say earlier, it's difficult for a reason. It kind of makes you earn your way through it, if you know what I mean. Discover the worlds. You find Cornifer, who's the map maker guy within the maps, within the areas, and then you have the map to the area, so you can and you reveal it as you discover that area. The bosses combat can be hard, but it has that awesome feeling of that you're really building up as you power up. It's sort of like as you find different power ups through the game, you really feel like you're growing, and it's with being Metroidvania a bit, and being Metroidvania, it can really, it's hard, but you can just sort of take a step back from a certain boss or something, take a step back from a certain area, go and just explore somewhere else, beef yourself up a little bit in somewhere else, maybe, and get a few upgrades, come back to that boss and you can beat him. So it's accessible in that way as well. But yeah, Hollow Knight is definitely my favorite indie game.
Well, I guess I just added another game to my backlog.
Make that one the top of the list.
Shit, boss.
Definitely, yeah, it's fantastic. It always makes me a little bit sad when people kind of give up on it quite quickly. It's quite funny because there's a lot of people have played it and then given up on it. I always speak to people saying, like, have you played Hollow Knight? Because obviously it's my favorite, and a lot of people say, yeah, I played it for a bit and then I didn't carry it on. I feel like it really, if you give it 4 hours maybe or something like that, I know some people aren't willing to give a game 4 hours before they decide, but you will it will be worth it, because Hollow Knight, it will give you a big hug by the end. It's quite a gothicy kind of darker game, where I compare it to sort of like, it's a similar sort of style of game as Ori, but I always see Ori as more of a sort of darker gothic take on it, I mean, Metroidvania kind of game. So that's another great game, Ori, of course, but those two are fantastic.
I would agree. I'm so far into the original Ori, and
Nice.
it's like I said, my backlog. I have a small handful of games on the table that I still haven't finished that are months, if not years old. So
yeah, I understand. It is tough. It is tough, but all I can say is it's a masterpiece, and there are a lot of sort of diehard fans for Hollow Knight. I feel like if you give it the time, it's worth it. Basically, I'll leave it there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll take it. So, what are your thoughts on the current indie scene, and how has it evolved over the past generation?
My thoughts on the current indie scene are, it's growing all the time, which is good, but essentially it still, has to remain, a certain niche for it to be indie, if you see what I mean. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's become a lot stronger recently. It's growing stronger all the time. People are becoming more open-minded, but at the same time I still see so many people who look at it as a separate, segregated section, as we were talking about the other day a little bit, I
Yep.
believe. So yeah, I just it's a shame, but it's one of those things that people aren't more open minded. As I believe games are games, and they should all be looked at in the same way. And if it's a quality game, I don't believe, you know, the AAA isn't the mark of quality. You know, a game, if it's
Oh, it's
quality and
definitely
it's
not.
indie,
Definitely
exactly,
not.
yeah. Exactly. Some people get that mixed up a little bit, that if it's AAA, it's going to be, oh wow, it's going to be amazing, but it
Here's a
doesn't
thought
signify that.
real
Yep.
quick. I don't want to interrupt you, but
No, not
I
at all. Go ahead.
so we talked about this the other day, how it kind of has been almost segregated into its
Yeah.
own like sub thing within gaming.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how that kind of sucks. And then what you said a minute ago kind of triggered what I wish we would have expanded on talking about it last time we talked,
Yep.
which was that's actually it's kind of beneficial to it. It kind of
Yeah.
makes it what it is at the same time.
I know what you mean.
Like as shitty as it sounds for it to not be, I guess, front and center or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's still it almost makes it more worth it.
That's
Like
a
it
good
almost
point.
helps it. It's almost kind of what makes an indie game, especially the great ones. Like
Yep.
because those were gems that could have easily, been
Yeah.
in the scene
Blended in kind
bright
of
and
thing. Yeah.
shiny, and now it's,
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point, actually. Definitely agree with that. It's a funny one because it's a double one, isn't it? Where
double-edged sword. Yeah.
double-edged sword. Yeah, exactly. Thanks. Because like, you want people to be more open-minded towards indie games to, pick them up and not sort of look down on them or whatever, like some people do, unfortunately. But at the same
Too many
time,
people do.
yeah, too many people. Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of like you say, if it has that kind of indie thing, and then it becomes this sort of, there's a buzz around it, that can be a real attraction for a lot of people, and can really, can give it a big push. It can make it shine as a gem kind of thing. As you know, it's kind of, maybe some people like, well, like myself, I look at indie stuff as a section that I'm, very keen to check out, and especially if something's rising up, I'm, all over that basically. But yeah, no, it's a really good point actually. It's a quite a tricky one to sort of get your head around sometimes. But it's just the main thing is as well, like, it's a shame that more people just aren't open-minded to it really. But at the end of the day, it becomes its own little niche, and it's a strong niche. It's kind of like the powerful crowd, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, and it's like you said, it's gaining, it's growing stronger, and there's more
Yeah,
and more support as time goes
definitely.
on for it, which is absolutely awesome. And that genre, we'll call it a genre instead of a segmentation,
Yeah,
is deserving of it, because I know a lot of these guys, I mean, a lot of times single people, all by themselves, put
most
so
definitely.
much of their love and their heart into these games, and they just want people to experience them at the end of the day, just like we
Yes,
do with our content. It's
exactly. Yeah, that's so true.
so Cloud's next question is, what are your thoughts on the Xbox and PS5 game showcases, highs and lows of each show?
Cloud's pretty good at this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
no, it'll be
writer.
cool. It'll be cool when you bring on the when you bring him into the show as well. Anyway, sorry, I've ruined that. Do you want to deliver that question again, or you're all right?
No, hey, if you know where you're going with it, go with it.
Cool. Yeah, there we go. Thanks. Um, okay, so with the Xbox Games Showcase, first thing I would quickly say about that is, as we spoke about when I was speaking to the developer of one of the games, shown as I was doing the interview with Joe of Escape Studio, the game which was Song of Iron, which she was shown in the Idea Xbox showcase segment, which was very small. It's like 2 minutes, the sizzle reel, if you didn't see. But that was shown in the pre-show. That the first thing I wanted to kind of mention is that I wish that had been in the main show. And I've thought that anyway. I thought, why couldn't they have just put a 2 minute segment into the main show? And just hearing him speak on the interview yesterday, him saying, "Oh, it was great for the reveal. I loved it. But it would have been great to have,
on the
just had
big
a bit more
stage.
feature. Yeah, exactly. Like, I
See,
mean,
they
it's
could
not
have
hard.
easily cut 2 minutes out of, numerous different portions of
Yeah,
what people would probably deem horseshit, and
yeah,
featured,
exactly.
maybe highlighted an indie dev.
Exactly. I mean, that whole segment could have just been slotted in, couldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it was small
it's
enough. It would have fit.
yeah, it's a shame, but yeah. I mean, it's literally he had 5 seconds out of in that particular show, in that particular indie reel, which stood out massively to me. But it looked great. But at the
It
same,
looks
like, I
fun.
feel, yeah, it sure does. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with those indie reels, I still love them because I'll look for them and I'll just sort of like then I'll look them up after, if you see what I mean. That's kind of what that sizzle reel is all
Hmm.
about, I believe. But that particular one, the only other thing, if I was going to be negative about the particular indie reel, is there was only 2 games which were new to me in that particular reel. I think all of the other ones had been already shown, or like they're quite long ago
You
announced, if you
already
see what I
knew
mean.
about.
Yeah, so they could have had a few more newer ones at some point, but they did have other. They had the Gunk, which was looking good. That had its own trailer. Um, in the main show, which looked really cool, and that's from the Steam World devs. I don't know
Yeah, I'm
if you've
totally interested in that game, by the way.
Looks
It
cool, mate.
looks
I'm glad to
cool.
hear that. Yeah, it looks fun, man. Um, yeah, the Steam that's from like Steam World devs. They don't play Steam World Dig or anything like that, but that's from them, and they've going 3D for the first time, so it's pretty interesting there. And they've got like a great pedigree with their games. They always make quality stuff, so I have high hopes for what that will turn out like. So yeah, and the world looks so alive and colorful and just interesting and different. It looks really cool, that game. Um, there was also that other one as well. I don't know whether that was an indie. I can't quite remember it too well. I think, is it as Dusk Falls? I believe. I
Oh
think that was.
yeah, yeah.
I think that might have been.
It might be an
Uh,
actual. It's not first party, is it?
I didn't check that out because. But yeah, I
It's
was.
interesting.
I think it
Interesting way to tell a story.
most definitely. Yeah, there was. I think the developer of that is maybe an ex Quantic Dream developer who's gone alone or something, but I think they might have been. I think they might be tied in with Xbox in some way, but I'm not too sure, so I won't comment further on that particular one. But yeah, as a whole, I thought the showcase was great, but I would have, you know, I would say this, but I would like to see him in a bit more indie stuff into the main stuff. But we've discussed that quite a bit, so I know you kind of felt that it should be more of a first party AAA focused kind of
from
deal,
a
but
from a marketing and like
yeah,
PR standpoint, that's you got to appeal to the masses,
I know what
unfortunately.
you
But
mean. Yeah,
but
it's a tricky one again.
I will give them credit where credit is due, and the fact that they split it into 3 segments more or less. Um,
Yep,
they they had, like indies did get some screen time, and I
they
appreciated
did.
that.
They
Like they could
certainly
have
did.
just steered away from all of it, which would have sucked. So
It would have done. I would have been disappointed with that. But to be honest with you, that indie reel, going back to that, I was thrilled with it, even though it was old stuff. A lot of it, just seeing Tunic come back to the fold after it's been quite a while, and just seeing some new gameplay on that. It wasn't old stuff that they used there. There was new gameplay on that, and it was also great to see like Sable that's come back. It's been slightly delayed, unfortunately, but that's totally cool. We'll take the time they need, kind of thing. I think it's pushed back till 2021. Um,
hey,
but
delays
yeah,
aren't a bad thing, not
exactly.
usually.
Yeah, take the time they need is what I think. Make the game
Three
what it
four
what
three.
it. Yes, exactly.
I don't
We'll see
think
how
it
that
was
works
near as
out.
bad as everybody's making it out to be. And I was hearing,
No.
I've heard everything from 6 to 10 month old demo footage. So
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
I've also heard that 343 internally is kind of shitty.
Right.
Yeah, I uh,
That's interesting.
watched something yesterday on it that yeah, a handful of employees, those internal documents were, how would you rate your blah 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 experience at work type stuff,
Yep.
and there were some really really nasty responses. The fact that it was more than, it was at least a handful. It makes me wonder what it's really like behind the scenes there. So
Yeah, that is pretty sketchy, isn't it?
it
Definitely.
has me worried, but at the same time, it just needs to play, just like every other game.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's just hope, because like I've heard that a lot as well. That I heard it was like a January build or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, but it's polishing at the end of the day. Like, that's what happens at the end. It really just brings it all together. There's no, point judging it at the moment. It looks fantastic. I'm sure it's gonna
judge
come
it when you
together
get it in
well.
your hands, right? Just
Exactly.
like with any
Yeah.
other game.
If it was just before release, then you maybe can say a bit more, but it's still a ways off a little bit. It's not like crazy amount of time off, but it's still the polishing stage kind of probably is starting this year, and that's kind of at the sort of like beginning of that. So it's potentially just polishing now and all that sort of stuff. But
What
yeah,
about the
so
PS5 showcase?
the PS5, God, just in my memory. Yeah, that's right. There was some
Might
great, there
be
was some
hard to
good ones in.
remember, like
I've got a
GTA
terrible.
5 and
Yep.
sweet games like that.
Yeah, there was the PS5 was good as well. Yeah, I just quickly finishing just to finish off the idea Xbox. Like I say, there was some good stuff in there. The new games they did show were good, and that reel was awesome. And something idea Xbox usually do it really really well is put those sizzle reels together, and they with the little bit of developer talking for just a little bit really adds a nice little extra bit of insight into the games. I find, like,
I
you've got
wish they'd do
Tunic.
that with all of them. Every
Yeah,
game.
it's super easy to digest. It's like you've got a nice take from the developer,
You get
even if
some
it's
insight.
couple of yeah, exactly, a couple of sentences. It's cool and give that gameplay. But it's just, yeah, lovely. I thought they present it really well. Idea Xbox do. And you got like 12 minutes coming. You got all those sort of like big ones, like Artful Escape and stuff like that. These are games I've been like high on my highly anticipated list for a while. I think the Artful Escape will be out quite soon. Actually, I reckon that'll be not too long. I think that might pop up. And 12 minutes. I think that will be this year too. Can you still hear me, my friend?
Oh, absolutely.
My computer's just gone into hibernation mode, which is clever.
Well, at least it's still picking up your mic. That's good.
Sorry about that. It went to the home, where you have to sign in at the start.
Yep.
I was just lucky we're not live.
Oh, shit.
No, this is where it comes in, the editing.
Oh, absolutely.
My God, I have to move the mouse every so often, I think.
And who knows? Maybe this part will just make the cut. Just for a laugh.
Why not? I'll leave that one up to you, buddy. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good idea, Xbox. But yeah, moving on to the PlayStation, I thought that was a good showcase as well. They had some good indies in there. Obviously, that's what I'm usually looking for. But the big games look great as well. But they had sort of Kena in there, which was the interesting. I thought, was it Kena Bridge of something? I can't remember the exact name of that game. I followed them, and they're sort of they've worked with Pixar and people like that, so they've got that really high polish level on their game, but they're still an independent studio, which is super cool. And the game looks super nice. I don't know if you remember seeing Kena on the PlayStation reveal, and
I don't.
it seems like forever ago though, when the PlayStation reveal was. I've been watching so many things like all the indie like Guerrilla Collective and stuff like that. I've been sort of consumed by all that sort of my brain's been taken
That's
up.
true.
You know what I mean? It sort of pushes other stuff out. But no, but I was impressed though that the PlayStation actually, because they've been a little bit off the gas recently, as some Americans saying, off the accelerator maybe for
Yeah,
UK.
yeah.
But yeah, they've been for indie stuff is what I mean. They're like, because PlayStation have been a little bit lackluster on that front, so it'd be
Kind of behind the curve a little bit.
it's good they're kind of getting back on the indie stuff, because they relied on it, way back, like 2013 or
Yeah.
back then. They were doing well then at that stage, and then it kind of went a bit weird, and now they seem to be getting back on the indie stuff too, which is good to see, because it's good. And ultimately, as many people who encourage that, the indie sort of scene is fantastic. the Switch, obviously, that's doing great with indies as
The
well.
more support for indies, the more indie developers we'll see surface. This is another thing. It's like they prove that
Yeah.
you don't have to have a huge studio to make an awesome game.
Yeah, exactly. That is true. There are a lot of indie games out there. There's a lot of indie developers out there trying their luck. There even are a few, maybe who, like you say, just have just risen out of on the back of it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to speak negatively very much because, yeah, you know what I mean. I've focused on the positive stuff, but I'm sure there's some people out there who knock a game out quickly and things like that. But essentially, that's why I tried to give this curated kind of sort of top 10 at the end of the month, which focuses on some great stuff. And obviously encourage everyone to check out as many indie games as possible and off their own back. But there's usually 10 in there which are pretty decent. I highly recommend checking out. And that's another plug. I apologize.
No, plug away. It's part of the show. It's actually this is all about highlighting you and
Oh, thank you.
and everything having to do with what you do. So you plug away, dude.
You're the man. It's awesome being with you. You have a very nice way about you, nice, relaxed. It's always great talking to you, buddy. So thanks.
I appreciate the shit out of it. I expect another invite to your show.
Oh, you will. You'll get that.
So, what are you currently playing and or reviewing?
So
Can we get any peek behind the scenes?
I don't kind of haven't been reviewing as in the typical review, or as in a YouTube video review kind of sense. I haven't been doing too much. I've done like quite a few reviews on the channel in the past, but I sort of moved away a little bit. But now I'm kind of moving back into reviews in a sense of we're going to be reviewing Carrion on the Saturday Indie Games podcast as like the three of us. So we're gonna get a sort of rounded opinion of Carrion from three different people. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I thought that was quite a cool idea to do something like that. And then you've so we're all playing it kind of thing, and then it's because sometimes you don't want to just get the one opinion. I think it's good to get the sort of vibe of a few different people, and then make your decision if you're going to get it yourself or whatever. But like we're checking out Carrion for that though, and that's what I'm playing at the moment, and it's fantastic.
The more opinions, the better. Always.
Yeah, exactly. It's you might
trusted
personal
opinions.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, yeah. You could look up a review. You don't even know someone, but they might have it. They might seem knowledgeable and stuff like that, which is great. You can take on their views, but you can take bits and pieces of and then formulate your own opinion from those thoughts. If you know what I mean. I think that's the best way to approach things. I think reviews have got a bit of a bad reputation recently, and I don't think they deserve that, really, to be honest. Personally,
well, some do. Some certainly do. Independent reviews are completely different from mass produced. I don't know how else to word it, because
it's difficult, because like you've had things like the IGN thing where they copied that Boomstick Gaming or whatever. I think that's the name of his channel. Remember that, when they copied his Dead Cells review? Do you remember that?
Oh shit, no.
That was a while back. I was a bit old school with that one. But when Dead Cells came out, IGN, one of the IGN employees basically copied a Boomstick Gaming, not Boom, not as in
a different Boom.
A different Boomstick. Yeah, it's got a similar name though. But and he had a few thousand subscribers at the time. So in effect, it actually worked out that, because he posted on Twitter, he says, "What do I do? This guy's basically stolen my review." It was pretty crazy. And
why would you even try to do that?
It's terrible, isn't it?
What the fuck?
It really is mental. It is crazy, but it worked out quite well for the guy, actually, which was awesome, because the community rose up and supported this guy who had done a good review, and they gave it, and loads of people subscribed to him, and now he's quite a big channel, actually. So that's pretty cool.
At the end of the day, if you're really unsure about a game, like I think the biggest issue is spending the money on it, is why reviews are even remotely important anymore. If you don't have to spend the money on it, or if you can spend the money on it, you're better off playing it yourself. Yes. In my mind, which is why I value some people's opinions,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
you stay the fuck away from Metacritic and other bigger
That's what I was
outlets.
gonna say. Metacritic has caused a lot
Like,
of problems. It
here's
really has.
the only review. I guess I would even, it's not a site, not a channel. Um, Game Ranks. They
Oh
always
yeah.
do a before you buy,
Oh yeah, I know.
and
Yeah, yeah.
they just seem so goddamn down to earth and
They're
straightforward
good
that
guys.
I would
Yeah,
I would feel good basing my opinion or letting their opinion influence potentially my choice to play or buy a game. Other
yeah.
than that, like steer clear of fucking Metacritic and IGN and
Yeah,
all these other huge outlets. Go play the damn game yourself if you're
yeah.
concerned.
It's
Make
true.
your
I
own
mean,
choice.
obviously, some people like to sort of just get a feel for it first. I think the key is that you should just get your, like, you've got your trusted, you've got Game Ranks, you trust them,
Hmm.
you've built up the trust on them. If you have people who that they kind of what sort of games they're into and
Hmm.
how they align as a gamer
And your
kind of thing.
friends, right?
Yeah,
Your
and your
friends.
friends definitely, because we've got a gaming community around us, so there's a lot of people we can ask and stuff
And
like that.
that's another thing too. Actually, I wanted to clarify it. Like, I'm talking like big games, AAA titles, things that are not even necessarily AAA titles, but bigger, like studios with budgets. I
Sure.
feel like indie games don't really have that um, gritty nastiness
Yep.
tainting their scene. So like, I would feel more comfortable gathering more information about reviews for an indie game than I would a bigger title because it doesn't seem as tainted.
Yes. No, definitely agree with that. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like there are, like I say, good people out there, and some like if you're into like the bigger people and you want someone who's good, a recommendation. Another one's like Easy Allies. I don't know if you've ever checked them out. They used to be called Game Trailers, but they changed to Easy Allies.
I know who Game Trailers is. I didn't know they changed their name. Maybe that's why
Yeah,
I
they
haven't
changed
seen
quite a.
any of their shit.
That's sure. Yeah, I bet they
It
lost a few subscribers on that actually when they
probably
changed
popped up
over.
onto my YouTube timeline, and I'm like, what the fuck
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that?
exactly. They do a podcast as well, and it's good. They're a really
Huh.
good bunch of guys. They're down to earth, like you say, and they focus, even though they're big, they focus on indie games too, and they cover a lot of that stuff as well as the bigger stuff. They cover all sorts. They've got like a crew of them, so there's quite a few who cover stuff. But yeah, they're really fantastic group. I think I really like Easy Allies. Their podcast is really cool. But yeah, there's people out there, again, going back to like random people like that. If you get to know like their sort of stuff and then you trust them, I feel it's okay, but just don't go to Metacritic. Whatever you do is my
Yes.
opinion.
Yeah, you're better off to compile individual reviews
Exactly.
and base your choice maybe off of that
Yeah, if you
than
if
you are to go to a mass. It's fucking gross. I won't
yeah,
ever trust
yeah.
any of it.
Definitely.
So what games right now are you looking forward to next gen? Indie, big studio, doesn't matter. What are you looking forward to next gen?
Um, okay. Well, my most anticipated game at the moment is Hollow Knight Silk Song, which obviously, Hollow Knight was my favorite game. Hollow Knight Silk Song, the sequel to that, is most definitely my most anticipated. It's just looking fantastic. They showed some gameplay quite a way back on, I think it was last, so not this E3, must have been like 2019 E3, I believe. They like did a Nintendo Treehouse feature. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. They sort of sit down and play the game and talk about it. It was quite
Okay.
cool to see it. I think it's 2019 or it might be 2018. No, I think it must have been 2019. But yeah, no, and then they've been pretty quiet since that. They've been doing some sneaky sort of reveals of what have they been showing? They've been showing like little riddles and stuff like that lately, but it's been quite quiet. they've been like doing riddles where you have to work it out yourself, and then you find out a character who's in the game. So they've been quite having some fun with that. Team Cherry
Interesting.
yeah, they know people were super keen for it. But Team Cherry as well is only like a super small team, and I think they used to be like 2 people and a composer. Now I think they might have like an extra, maybe 3 people and a composer now. So it's just incredible the work they do. The amount of content that's in Hollow Knight alone is ridiculous. For the price of it as well, it's bonkers. It's like, I think you pick it up for about like, in the UK it's like $10.99. Like obviously I've already picked it up, but like it's just crazy, you know what I mean? Like the amount of content in it. Like I've spent over 100 hours in Hollow Knight. So yeah, but Silksong, most definitely, I'm super excited for that game. It's definitely my most anticipated. Other games I'm looking forward to like The Artful Escape. Can I be cheeky and pull up my list?
Oh, absolutely.
The problem is I've got like a million games that I'm looking forward to. If you know what I mean.
Fair enough. That's how backlogs happen.
Yeah.
Really long backlogs.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Okay, I'll go with some of whatever's on this then. Some of my favorite games I'm looking forward to, like I say, was definitely Silksong. So I'll stop there actually. Have you got Silksong? Okay, just I can go from after Silksong, yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Get her done.
I don't have to do Silksong over again. That's good. Cool. So other than Silksong, I've got I've got so many games I'm looking forward to. If I'm honest, it's literally ridiculous. I actually have got a full-on list because I like to keep on top of games that are upcoming so I can share them out, and I actually tick them off as they release. I'm a little bit of a geek like that, so but
hey, I won't judge. No judgment here.
Yeah, no, it's just because I love it so much, basically, and just seeing what's coming. But yeah, no, I mean, Spiritfarer is upcoming this year. I believe it's set to release this year. It's looking really cool. There's a game called Anew the Distant Light, which I actually played the demo of a little while back, maybe 2 months back, which is another Metroidvania style game in like the same sort of style as Hollow Knight style game. But you're basically, it's like a sci-fi Metroidvania. So you're kind of in space. You've got these cool like cabins and places to discover, like similar to the way you discover in Hollow Knight. And the demo was really fun, and some cool ideas going on in that game. Definitely looking forward to it. Anew the Distant Light, highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already seen that. The obvious two that everyone's always talking about, which are kind of a little bit elusive at the moment, are Tunic, and The Last Night especially has gone a little bit quiet, but they are still working on that game. So they
exist.
Yeah, exactly. Tunic, I feel like that's coming back in the last Idea Export showcase. That's showing it's sort of moving a little bit towards a final destination, if you see what I mean. I feel like The Last Night still might be a little while away, but that game looks stunning when it was revealed, and I've been keen for it ever since. But I always say, be patient. These guys are independent developers, and it's a lot of work to take on.
Time.
Exactly, they're artists, they're ambitious, they want to make it the best it can be. So patience, and then we'll get something special, I think. There's some fantastic games. I could go on forever to be honest, but like this year I think we're getting Art of Rally, which is looking really cool. I do like my rally games, racing games in general. Art of Rally is looking fantastic. Played that at EGX back last year, which was super cool. Played it right in front of the developer and wasn't very good at the time, but I've since played the demo and was a little bit better, so that was a relief. But yeah, it's good fun. It's almost like a sort of top-down-ish. It's quite sort of drawn out for camera, and it's got a really cool art style, sort of like a low poly sort of art style almost, but really nice lighting and really great gameplay mechanics. There's a ton. Circuit Superstars is another really cool racing game that's upcoming. That is looking fantastic. Again, I played that at EGX last year. That's another cool top-down kind of racer. Artful Escape, looking forward to. I could literally go on forever. So many. I will go on. I will shout out one game actually, which no one probably knows about at this time, which I played at EGX, which is a game called Snow. I don't know whether it's going to still keep that name, but I played it in its extremely early state. But
what's it about?
It's basically it's got kind of like a it was so early, but it just the kind of cinematic feel it had. It was kind of like it's kind of like a third person sort of behind view kind of thing. It's set in like a sort of a snowy villagey town, kind of sort of small town village kind of thing. But it just had such a good vibe about it, and the developers were so keen. It didn't really have any massive mechanics at the time, apart from the cinematics that it had, which just had a really unique feel to it. But I'm going on very little
So it sounds
because
like
I haven't
it's
played any
on a good
hardcore
start,
mechanics. But
right?
yeah, they've got something. I think they've got something, and it was super early stages when they were showing it. So, but if I think they're still called Snow, and it's on. I think they're called Loading. Loeding, I think is the developer. Definitely worth checking those guys out because they're super nice guys, and you know, just the cinematic feel in an early stage that it had was the lighting, and it was kind of like a sort of, you know, had a kind of warmth to the sort of lighting, and in a snowy sort of cold it had a cold feel with warmth around it. That's not making no sense.
No, that
Hope you're
makes
gonna cut this.
sense.
Please cut this bit out.
No way, it totally makes
It
sense.
just had a
It,
lovely cinematic feel is basically
it's
what
in
I'm
a
trying
cold
to say.
setting, but the warmth the game makes you feel from the cinematics and the environment, the
Definitely, yeah.
it,
No, it just had
the experience itself felt
exactly, yeah.
that
You know,
way.
where you can kind of get a feel, but you haven't seen, even though you haven't seen the actual gameplay yet and how that's going, because they were so early stages. They're building the world, sort of thing. Even though, but you could run around essentially. You could run around this village. It's just, I just kind of got a really good vibe for it, and they had their excitement for the game was infectious, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So
See,
yeah,
so what you said totally makes sense then.
yeah,
It can be
definitely.
both. It can
It looked
a
properly
good
polished even at that early stage, which was quite stunning, really. But
it's a good thing.
yeah, definitely. But there's a ton of other games as well. Maybe, I mean, you know, we've got like Fall Guys is coming out in a few days, to shout out that. The Pathless looks really cool, just to shout out a few games. Unto the End, have to shout that one out again because I'm really looking forward to that game. And yeah, I could go on forever, so you might have to stop me.
Well, we got two more questions for you before we do our outro. What are you most passionate about and why?
What am I most passionate about and why, in the sense of in just general sense, kind of, or you say specifically within these? Sorry, I'm
No,
rubbish.
you as a person,
Um,
and you know, take into account everything you do, from your personal life to what you do for content. Take it all into account and try and answer as best you can.
um, I feel like
You could have multiple things. I mean,
okay.
there's nothing saying that you're not super like as passionate about indie games as you are about family. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
You
see
know
what
what I
you
mean?
mean. Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I'm passionate about being creative in that. I like creative, like I said earlier. I really like being creative outlets and stuff like that. Um, that is, you know, the channel is great for that, to be able to create content. But you know, I'm obviously is passionate about indie games in a sense, of course, and sharing that with the community. I'm passionate about, you know, are good people who are in the community, and just being able to share stuff with people and enjoy together, if you know what I mean. I think if you're doing a YouTube,
Absolutely.
without everyone in the community who's comes together to share great, you know, stuff, great games and stuff like that, there's nothing, is there? There's no point in the YouTube channel without the people who you share it with, kind of thing. So
Indeed.
I'm passionate about that kind of interaction with people. That's definitely one of my main passions, for sure. You know, I'm massively appreciative of all the friends I've met in the community, like UK Dazarus, Jago. I'm gonna stop naming people, but you know, all my Dazcast peeps who I I've met. They are real friends to me. They're not just online buddy or they're real deal proper friends to me. Like I consider them, if we met if we were in the same region or whatever, we would be meeting up. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that we're not like living close to each other, and hopefully one day we will meet up as well at EGX or something like that. We hope to do that when the life restores its normal order. But
one can hope.
One can hope. Be amazing, yeah. But I'm definitely passionate about community spirit and stuff like that. And like I say, they're people who I've met. I treasured that as a real friendship. It means the world to have great friends to share a common hobby for. So yeah, definitely that. And then on another side is I'm very passionate about sharing the indie message as well. Definitely passionate about that for sure. It means a lot to me. It's become, it's something that I've grown and grown and grown more passionate about, to be honest, because
it's your niche,
see,
bro.
Yeah,
it's your thing.
It is, yeah, and I love having that kind of focus, if you see what I mean, because gaming is fantastic as a whole to talk about, but there's a lot to talk about, and I just I love the indie stuff, and I love being able to interact with the smaller devs who are really accessible, and they love chatting about their game. It's a special thing to be able to do that. I loved when I went to EGX and being able to actually walk up to them, play their game, and then talk to them about it after is just so cool. I love that side of independent development and the whole indie movement and stuff like that. It's super cool. Like if you have like a big AAA game or whatever, like a Far Cry or something like that being shown off at a convention, you probably won't speak to any of the developers. You probably speak to a community person who's like manning the station. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you'll never have that connection. It's that personal connection that's really special, I think. But yeah, being able to sort of hopefully contribute to the success of indie games as a whole as well is super important to me, and means a lot to me. So yeah, I love being able to share awesome games, and in turn everyone's a winner, because the people who get to play them on the back of hopefully me sharing out them, and they see them, they get to experience cool games. The developer hopefully gets a win out of it too, and I feel great because everyone's kind of winning, if you know what I mean. So yeah, passionate about that. Yeah, that's that really. I'm very passionate about all of those things.
I love the answer. It's
I said
good
passion
shit.
a lot. Sorry about that.
Hey, dude. It is what it is.
It's like, did you ask me about passion by any chance?
Oh no, that word wasn't even in there. Turns out that's what the whole question was about.
Passion is a good thing to have, isn't it? For sure.
Absolutely. If you don't have that, then what the hell gets you out of bed in the morning?
Exactly. Yeah. No, definite. No, it's a great question, and at the end of the day, it's the drive of you need that sort of feeling of passion to keep saying it, but it's true.
Yeah,
that's what drives you to keep going with the chat. We keep going with the channel, and I'm sure everyone else as well. You want you put it out there, then it's the community thing. You know what I mean? It's starting the question to talk about, and the games to talk about and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not passionate about something, I don't know, in my mind, you're not living right, man.
Yeah.
There's got to be something in there. I mean,
yeah.
Where's your soul?
Exactly. I mean, some days are harder than others, obviously, but
oh yeah,
it's just in general kind of as a thing. We're getting to that, but it's sort of that the kind of the hobby of gaming is something which helps a lot of us through all of that stuff, but it gives us that fire as well, and obviously massively so the people around me in my real life too, but like my good wife, of course, I have to mention. Definitely passionate about her. That sounds a little bit kinky, but
no great man isn't followed up by a great woman.
Exactly,
or led by a great woman. Like,
yeah, that's probably more true.
I'm not gonna lie. My girlfriend makes me so much better in so many ways. I could never sit here and even try and describe it. So
I know what you mean. It's so true. No, she's definitely my rock, and that's for certain. And yeah, like, you know, being able to, like I said it just a minute ago, pretty much how it should be said, but like meeting everyone like you and everyone in the community, and having those as people, as true friends, like I say, they really are true friends.
well, and during
Um,
this time, it's
yeah,
it's an absolute fucking pleasure to be
yeah,
able to sit down and talk with you and everybody else. Like it it's something to look forward to too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I get
most
a
definitely.
I get to know somebody to some extent. Somebody most of the time new, every week or every other week, because of this show, and it's
Super cool. Yeah.
I love it. Like I am honored that everybody that ever comes on the show is it's an absolute honor to have them on.
No, you're doing an amazing job, my friend. It's a super awesome thing that you're doing, like showcasing people, you know, and you, like bringing them on. And you have a great way about you, of just relaxed way about you, which brings out the best in people, I think. And you know, you, like I say, it's a fantastic thing that you're doing with the creator feature. Awesome.
I appreciate that a lot. Means a lot. It really
Oh,
does.
no problem, buddy.
Um, I have what is my favorite part of the show. Um, it, I say it all the time, but it is. So we're in the final statement portion. If you could
Okay.
say one thing to aspiring creators to motivate or inspire them, what would it be?
So, just you, would you like it condensed into one sort of sentence?
You know, you just go off, man.
Go off, go
Let it
off.
flow.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, one thing, if I was going to condense it, it would be don't procrastinate,
Yeah,
because that's
that's
the one thing.
hard. That's the hardest hurdle.
Yeah, definitely. It's just go for it as well. You know, in this, it's another way of saying just if you are looking to start a channel with your own, if you love gaming, if you love anything, and you want to share that with a community, you know, don't procrastinate. Go for it, because you'll learn on the journey, and that is part of it. I did it for so long. I waited for so long before I started doing it, and then realized, like I said earlier, realized that now the journey starts. Now I start learning, kind of thing. Now I've started it, kind of thing. So it's definitely just go for it. Um, Soak up as much of, you know, your niche or your particular subject that you're speaking about as possible. You know, engross yourself in that. That should hopefully be it should be something you're passionate about anyway, for sure. Like that's also a big thing, is make sure you're doing something you're passionate about, because that's going to keep you going in the long run. If you're not talking about things that you don't love, then you know you might burn out. So it's I think that's really important, that you definitely are doing something, a topic that you love. Don't just, you know, cater to the where you're going to get the clicks or the attention. Don't just go with the trending topics. You can think tactically about it, and you can do something you're passionate about, as well as, you know, you can encourage an audience as well. There is ways to do things that you love, you know, just by putting a different slant on things. So just go, you know, do your research, I say, as well. Soak in as much content, you know, learn all about everything, you know, just be a sponge and soak up all the goodness that's out there, because there is a lot of inspiration to be grabbed from like YouTube and things. If you want to learn about certain things, if you want to make your streams look good, whatever you particularly are doing, make sure you just kind of learn and just try things. Don't be afraid to try anything, just go for it, and you won't look back. Do it, guys.
Hell
So yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Good
and good
words.
luck.
Good words.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
always
cool.
my favorite part of the show because it seems like there there's typically some similarities in the answers to that question,
Sure.
but they're always at the same time so much different. And
Right.
that's what makes that question, that's like the staple point. That is my my golden fucking question every
Yep,
week,
I
and
know what
I
you
will
mean.
never change it
It
because
kind of is that kind of it's sort of it's a summarization of your show almost. I can't think of a better word for it. It's kind of
yeah, it's
it's kind of is your show in a nutshell, that question, if you see what I mean.
yep, yep,
Yep.
exactly. Um,
Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, well, I hope I answered it okay.
oh, you did fucking great.
Oh,
Um,
cheers, buddy. That's very kind of you.
so I just want to say super thank you for coming on the show.
Oh,
Um,
thank you, buddy. Thanks for having me.
honestly, it's not necessarily one of those shows that wouldn't see you on here again. Like there's so many people I'd love to have on again, and
Awesome, buddy.
it's
I like it.
if all else fails, I would love to get you on to Fireside one of these Saturdays.
Okay, cool. That sounds
So,
good. Yeah,
but
no,
I
definitely.
appreciate the shit out of your time. I really do.
Oh, thank you. No, you're a great guy, and it's been an absolute honor to be on your show, buddy. It's awesome what you're doing. As I say, just keep up the awesome work with this. There's a whole community of awesome people out there, and
So
you're
many
working your
people
way
on the
through them.
list.
Yes, it's great.
It
It's
might
great.
take me till I'm old and gray, but I'll get there. I'll get
There'll
through
be a
everybody.
compilation one day, like
Best bits.
yeah, exactly.
Somebody maybe someday will put together the best bits of all of it.
Sounds awesome.
So, where
But
can people find you on social media and throughout the week and on your channel? When, where, when, why, how, all those good questions.
yeah. So basically, you can find me on YouTube at www. YouTube / the indie gamer, all one word. So YouTube / youtube.com / the indie gamer, one word. Don't usually say YouTube, that's funny. But yeah, you can find me over there. So if you search the indie gamer, you might find it, but saver if you are going
I did.
youtube.com / oh, you did. In fact, did it come up quite high on there or low? Was it the indie game?
It was at the top, so
Oh, that's fantastic.
that is fantastic.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, and also you can find me on Twitter, where if you want to continue the conversation, as they say, it is indie_gamer_01. That is my handle over on Twitter. I have started a Discord recently too,
Yeah, it's
but
pretty
I don't.
active actually.
Yeah, it's doing quite good actually, which is nice to see. I'm really glad about that. I'd started it kind of just for the show, really, which was be able to do the voice channels with the show, to try that out kind of thing. And now it's starting to get a bit active and all that, which is nice. Because it's cool. Like I put in one of the made one of the text channels let's talk indie games. So kind of you can share your indie game knowledge, or any games that you like, or you want any recommendations on indie games that you want to check out, kind of just sort of like talking about indie games in there. But yeah, I haven't actually included a link anywhere for that Discord, but I think I might add my Discord link to my Twitter page. But for now, just the YouTube probably, and Twitter will suffice. And yeah, I would massively appreciate if you drop by and say hi. It's always great to talk to you guys. So be sure to drop a comment, or I have got my DMs open on Twitter as well. But yeah, it's great to talk to all of you guys. So drop me any messages anytime you like, if to chat indie games or anything else, really. But yeah, thank you again for having me on, my friend. It's been absolute pleasure, and anyone who listens to this, it's greatly appreciated. Thanks for listening to me drone on a little bit. Passion for indie games is definitely something that is there with me, and if you'd like indie games too, it's always awesome to talk to you guys. So thanks for listening, guys.
Well, please shoot me, DM me any links that you want people to be aware of, and they will be put in the description, front
Oh,
and
that would
center.
be awesome. Thank
So,
you, my friend. That'd be great. Um,
no, go ahead.
that'd be awesome. I was going to say, I'm not sure if I'll do the Discord. I haven't really been posting about the Discord yet. I'm just doing invites, if you see what I mean.
Oh no,
But
that's fair. Leave it out if you want to leave it out.
I'll
If
probably
not,
do the other two. Obviously, yeah, it'll be awesome to have the YouTube and the Twitter in there, if that's okay.
oh,
Um,
absolutely. Anything you want down there goes down there. It's this the creator feature.
Oh, well,
So
thank you so much. That's fantastic.
it's all about you. Um,
You're a good guy.
I want to
It's definitely
say
not all about me though. Yeah.
thank you to everybody watching. Super thank you to Wilmy and Fork and everybody else, Bomber, Leo, Cloud, all of you guys that we all support each other. But I absolutely love it over there. I love being a part of that and the whole community as a whole. And without them and what they do, I probably wouldn't have you on the show right now. Um, they kind of pulled me out of my shell, to be
Nice.
honest, and yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic for the future,
That is cool.
and we will see you guys in the next video. Later.
Later, guys.